Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Lions Den podcast here on the Monday Night Football, talking about everything Club Leon in English. We're back after those jornadas. We're here to talk about everything that happened, especially in this last weekend's game versus Santos, which we'll definitely get into it as it was a chaotic ending. Also, we have to talk about Guardado's arrival and everything else in between and from there on. So, everybody watching us via YouTube and X on Twitter, hello, welcome. As always, let us know what your comments are, and we'll definitely share them to keep the conversation going. So, if you agree, disagree, whatever you guys want to share with us, go ahead and comment in the chat. So, Carlos and Louis, gentlemen, how are we feeling after a win at home?
Yeah, good times right now. Good times right now. I said this in the chat with our private chat, but I think that was it was a top 3 regular season game for me since I started on this trek to go to as many games as possible. I think that was a top 3. Just the range of emotions that it left and the way it finished. Because there have been a lot of games that have played out almost like that over the course of the years and didn't have a finish like that. And I feel like the same team, and not to throw more dirt on the guy's proverbial grave, but I think a Nicolas Larcamon team, at least during this past season, wouldn't have gotten themselves in that situation and found a way out of it the way that this team did. So good vibes. Mad props, first 3 points of the season, big 3 points of the season. Because now we're right in the thick of things, and it's early on to be standings watching, but we're right in the thick of things, and we still have 2 games in hand on most of the teams above us. So big night, that game against Santos.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy week, with all the hype surrounding the team. Obviously, the arrival of Andres Guardado was, that was the headline all week. And going into this game, just you felt a different energy. That first half wasn't reflective of that, but we'll get into it. But yeah, we were able to get those 3 points. Super excited to have Andres Guardado, and super excited for these guys getting our 3 points tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll make it 2 games in a row, 2 wins in a row, and keep adding. Seguir sumando. So
yeah, we have three straight road games coming up, which is very unusual. We have 3 straight road games, but I'd say that, as far as road games go, they're all winnable. So I'd love to see the team build off this little bit of momentum that they got, and keep the fire going and get some big points out of this.
And they're not easy games either. We have Toluca, Pachuca, who did not play. Yeah. Pachuca did not play bad yesterday against Pumas. I don't know if you guys watched that game. That was a really good game. Credit to them. They're using like half their starting lineup is nothing but youth academy players, but they're playing really good ball.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't say easy. I said winnable. I think these next 3 games are all winnable, but they're not going to be easy. None of them.
Yeah.
In the chat, we have Sauce Boy stopping by as always. Saludos. Hello. Thanks for joining.
Good, Sauce Boy.
And our good friend Javi Perez. Saludos, Lions Den Podcast. Abrazos de fiera a todos.
Javi P.
Thanks, Javi P. Yeah, we had that time. I was trying to refer to the different Javis. Our Javi would get that one not be able to make it tonight, but he did send us his prediction. So we'll definitely share his prediction when it is prediction time. And he put a laughing face, Javi P. Look, Javi P, we have to get you back on at some point, and we have to sort out the whole name. So we'll get that going soon. Obviously, yes, like Carlos had mentioned, big headline, Guardado's arrival. It kind of felt really weird, but in a good way, you know what I mean? Because obviously, La Liga MX at this point, I was talking to Tom about it, like, who would have imagined like Andres Guardado and Chicharito coming back in the same season? Like, I would not have imagined that, right? And obviously, people were saying like, about Guardado coming back into León, and we kind of all thought of the same process with Rafa Marquez coming back to Liga MX. wanting to go back to Atlas. That didn't happen. He came to León, fuimos campeón, and he ended up going back into Europe. So obviously Guardado, I mean, he's just an amazing player. Had a very long career in Europe, and coming back, I mean, es un orgullo tenerlo en un equipo como León. And yeah, I mean, the recibimiento was great, no? Like we saw.
Yeah, the presentation in León I was unfortunately not able to attend, but dejó buenas sensaciones from everything that I could see. And I mean, he seems stoked to be here. I mean, just as a little aside, it's unfortunate. I think between Guardado and Chicharito, the two bombas from your guys' selección, not mine, but your guys' selección, who have joined the Liga MX this season, I think Guardado has a much bigger chance to contribute. I think he has a much, much bigger chance to be an important piece for León than Chicharito does for Chivas. But obviously, when it's Chicharito and Chivas, that's going to steal most of the farandula. I think that's a little bit unfair to Guardado, because I think I feel like the Chicharito signing was really just for publicity. Well, I think sure they certainly milked all the publicity they could get out of this Guardado signing. I mean, I think they're bringing him in really with the idea that he could be the missing piece to make this a sustainable contender, and at least for the next couple years. So yeah, I mean, let's not get this twisted. I think the Guardado signing is more important both for the respective club that the player is going to and for Liga MX. I'm throwing that out there.
I don't even like to compare.
It's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even like to compare. The only thing I care about is the fact that we got not just a good player, but a class player. Like the class behind this guy, the human being that he is, the person that he is, the leader that he is, especially because I think that one of the areas we were lacking in on this team is the leadership. Like nobody steps up. I mean, you have Cota, but he's always on goal.
Yeah, different.
Tecillo's not the type to get in people's ear. So yeah, it's good that we got not just a good player who still has a little bit left in the tank. We don't know how much he has left in the tank, but he was just playing in Europe, so he must have some left in the tank.
Up until a few days before this signing, he was still a regular starter in league matches for, as of this writing, a top 10 team in Spain. That's pretty. You don't usually get signings like that. Yes, sure, he's getting on in years, but we're talking 3 days before the signing, he was titular in a league match for Betis. Like, you don't usually get players like that coming into your team. That's a monumental thing, and it should not be understated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with Carlos. I think they're two totally separate things, and obviously, I know Louis, you're not obviously the national team fan, obviously, but I think they're just two totally different situations. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad as a Liga MX fan. I mean, I watched them, and now they're coming back, and obviously, Chicha's a whole different story because as a Mexican, obviously, seeing a player like that. Seeing him debut, seeing him go on his European career, he's back at home, he's back at his own club. I mean, I just admire his mentality, and people can talk about, Chicharito and whatnot, but he has a really good mentality. He did have a good career. Obviously, come back to MLS, that's something else. But when he was in the other clubs, and I just hope that influence has an influence on the young, Mexicans that are coming up, especially Guardado having his own influence on the young León players coming up as well, because falta esa mentalidad, in los mexicanos that are coming up. And obviously I'm talking about on that standpoint. But, I hate the comparison. It's just like, let's just appreciate that they're coming back. Y ya, just enjoy the games. That's just for me.
Let's not get this twisted. I'm not making a comparison because I want to. It's just, you've seen all the talking heads. That's they will not leave it alone. Like, which is the better signing? Who's more important? Which is the bigger bombazo? Like all this kind of stuff. That's all they want to talk about it. So I just acknowledging.
Yeah, it's all the media.
The fact that, acknowledging the fact that the comparison is being made, in front of us nonstop. It's not that I frankly, I just don't think there's any comparison to be made because I just don't think what Chicharito can bring to Chivas and what Guardado can potentially bring to León are comparable. I mean, I think it's not the same kind of signing, in my opinion, especially because one of them is going to miss like half the season also, you know.
I mean, he'll be back.
Whereas the other one,
yeah, I mean, he'll be playing in February,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like the type of influence that he can have in his own team in the younger generation that's coming, we can say the same thing on Guardado in that aspect. I mean, it's just, I hate that the media compares them, exactly what you said. The media is making it very like wanting to put people against, you know, clubs and like, oh, which one's better? And I'm just like, to me, there's just no need, you know, especially for the actual Chivarmanos who, you know, that's their team, that's their Chicharito, you know, he's coming back home, like, that's what they think. Let them be. Si viene a aportar, like he says, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, and lo que Guardado aporta a nosotros, pues que nos aporte a nosotros, like we just saw.
In terms of the impact, just purely the impact on the game, it's obvious that Guardado is going to have a bigger impact. Just from being healthy, from immediately jumping into, you know, making his debut with the team, the first game that he's on the bench. And also just by simply handing off that captain armband to him, that already is like a huge impact. He's in there, he's pointing, telling people where to go, he's giving instructions, he's passing ball, he's really meshing with the club. So just purely impact and on the sport, you know, I'm putting my money on Guardado.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly how high he can raise the ceiling of this club. I'd like to think it's, you know, the hardest thing to do in any sport. Now, you hear it all the time with regard to leagues like the NBA, but it's much harder to go from bad to mediocre or mediocre to good than it is from good to great. The hardest thing to do in sport is to go from good to great. And this is the kind of move that I think, you know, takes our squad, which is obviously good. They couldn't have had the 2023 that they had without being at least considered a good squad. And, you know, most of that squad is still intact. This is the kind of addition that really, I think, could turn a good squad into a great squad. It's hard to know. It's hard to, I didn't really garner much from the minutes that he got in his debut against Santos. You know, first of all, we were playing up a man. And second of all, you know, this is his very, very first appearance with a brand new club, new compañeros. Yes, they've been training together, but I don't expect him to need a long adaptation period, but I just didn't glean that much from those minutes. I think especially if he starts tomorrow against Mazatlan, I think we're really gonna see what he's made of, especially, you know, playing against on paper a much lesser side. So I mean, I'm very, very curious to see once he gets his first starters minutes. I mean, I don't know if they think of him as a 90-minute player, if he's a guy who's going to play 60, 70, get subbed off most nights. I don't think so. I think he's going to play a full 90 most of the times out there. For a 37-year-old, he's got very, very good condition. And obviously he's been playing regularly, starting regularly in frankly a much better league than ours. So, you know, I don't expect that to be an issue for him. But yeah, those first minutes he got, obviously it was just cool to see him out there. It was hard to, you know, glean what he could really do for this team, what the possibilities are for this team with him on the pitch. It was just so cool to see him out there for that first time. And now, okay, the debut's over. Now let's see how high he can take this team's ceiling.
I mean, I thought with a couple of minutes, it just already impacted, like exactly what Carlos said, because I you know, was tweeting about it, like just the way he came in, you could just see everybody kind of listening to him, like, no, now you move this way, can give me the ball. The balls that he would put, his vision. I mean, obviously we know the type of player he is, and I like genuinely what I saw in the couple of minutes, and I'm like, oh, so if we get him to start, well, then we can definitely see something coming up for the rest of the season. But I thought from those minutes, tenía un buen visto.
Yeah, it's the comfort thing, like figuring out which players he's going to be playing immediately next to most of the time, and just getting comfortable with them. You know, like building a relationship with guys like, looks like Avion's going to be a big factor this season. Alan Medina is obviously going to be a big factor this season. Like the people he's going to share the midfield with, just getting super comfortable with them and knowing like them trusting him and knowing when he's giving them indications on the field, like being that leader on the field, you know, they start to follow that and be comfortable with it. I think once that starts to happen, you know, we could really, really see some nice stuff happening in this squad.
Speaking of Avion, I mean, what a resurgence this guy has had since last season, where he was out and injured like for almost like a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
We all thought he was finished. I personally thought he was finished. I was like, this guy's either going to get traded. I know Toluca came in asking for him, didn't end up going. But I was like, yeah, I think this guy's done. This guy's finished. But man, what a resurgence! He's taken over that starting spot over Ivan Moreno, who we thought he was a titular indiscutible. Like, no, we never thought anybody could take that position from him. And here comes Avion flying in, and he just takes it. And he just takes it. I mean, he just takes it from him. And he does. It's not about like hierarchy or anything. He took it, and he's looking really good. He's looking really good at that position.
Well, and I think Moreno, in the last couple of games, he, from kind of mid-season of last season to end, hadn't been his best version. So I think, with training and all that, like you said, Avion is taking his spot, and he's looking good, which is good because I feel
this last game,
he did.
Or is he está borrado, or like what's going on?
No me acuerdo.
Ivan Moreno.
Ivan, did he sub in?
He did sub in.
He subbed in? Okay.
He did sub in. I remember him subbing in, and I remember him looking pretty decent after he came on.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be his new role for Baba. This is like as a super sub.
I mean, that's not a bad super sub to have.
I was gonna say it's good to have that depth again, because obviously we're like, oh, if Ivan's out, what are we gonna do? So obviously now we have
Avion. I think you don't want to talk about anybody's physical condition ever, but I remember you, Carlos, mentioning the last time we saw Avion, like he didn't look particularly fit.
Yeah.
And I think he looks quite fit. I think he looks quite fit now.
Yeah.
I think that's not that is not going to be an issue for him anymore in anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Shout out to Angel Delgado on the chat, said Fidel to Betis. What do we think? There was that rumor that I guess Jesus Martinez had said that they asked about Fidel.
Yeah. Well, it's not a rumor if the owner confirms it, right?
True. But
he can confirm the interest. I mean, having a team reach out to you. That's not like anyone. All these people have each other's numbers. They can just reach out. Have my people call your people. I don't think it's unless a formal offer is made, and it's not that big of news to me personally.
Yeah. Well, I heard an interesting take on, like, I don't know if it was ESPN or Fox Deportes. I can't remember. But somebody said that this whole like negotiation for Guardado, they let him go for free. We didn't have to pay anything. Se fue jugador libre. So it's like they were speculating, like, hey, wait a minute. If we do you guys this solid, Leon, there's a kid over there that we're looking at who has a nice future. Maybe in the future, you can do us a solid. Maybe it's part of the negotiation for Guardado.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, Guardado was a free transfer, was he not? I mean, it's not like we had to buy his contract off of them.
Well, he was still under contract, but he had to, I don't know, force his way out or something. Because I think his buyout was like $1 million.
Here's my thing. I wouldn't mind Fidel going to Betis. Obviously, we want to sell. That'd be a big boon for the club to sell off a player like that to a club like that. But I don't know. It just doesn't sit quite right with me that it'd be part of the negotiation for Guardado. Honestly, I'd like to see them play together at least this one season. Then if they want to send him in the next transfer window, okay.
Yeah.
But I'd rather that it not end up being essentially just a 1-for-1 trade. I want to see those dudes play together. I want to see Fidel, learn from Guardado for a season and have them play together. And I think that would, the things they could do together, both ends of the generation, like one of them on the twilight of still very good, but on the twilight, the downturn of his career, and the other already very good and on the upswing. I want to see that. I want that to be the narrative, at least for this season. Obviously, tarde o temprano, we're going to have to sell Fidel. I mean, it's inevitable. I'd rather they wait till the next transfer window. I would like to see those guys play together at least one season.
I think 20 years old. Go on.
I was going to say, I personally would like to see him stay at least for that next Club World Cup, but I know that's too far in the future. I don't see him staying that long. Yeah.
I think I think with Louis saying, it's inevitable that we're gonna have to sell Fidel, and I think a lot of teams all over the world will have Ambris on their radar because they see a 20-year-old youngster starting in La Primera de La Liga MX. Like, there's not too many 20-year-olds that are consistently starting and getting minutes like Fidel is. So obviously Fidel will be on a lot of teams' radar. So it's going to be no surprise that there's going to be all these that has been and will be rumors of, Fidel, interest, having interest in him, teams having interest in Fidel. But I just hope that Grupo Pachuca does well with choosing a club where he will thrive, and where he will get minutes. Because I think, if anything, I think he does have potential, and I think it's just finding the right club for him and que lo faciliten irse a Europa. You know what I mean? I feel like, especially with the league, there's a lot of question marks on how they're doing things with transfers and youngsters and all that. And I think he has a lot of potential, and I'd hold off. I agree with Lee. I wouldn't get rid of him now. Wait till next week.
I wouldn't cash in my chips on him just yet. His value's not as high as it's going to get. I mean, unless the only thing would be if he, they hold out, he suffers some kind of catastrophic injury, and then his value plummets. That would be the only thing. But barring that, I mean, he's on an upward trajectory in terms of
his stock is climbing.
His stock is climbing in terms of both his play and his monetary value in the market.
Yeah, well, nowadays, like the negotiations between Mexican clubs and European clubs is that you attach that extra clause in there where if there's a future sale with this player, you get a percentage. So Grupo Pachuca could easily say, hey, si vendes a Fidel to Al Dortmund, we'll get 20% of that.
And they could, 20. They could make that percentage like stupid high if they wanted to. They could probably make it like 40 even.
It won't be that much. It probably be like 20%.
He's 20 years old. He's been playing in first division for 4 years since he was 16.
But if he has to thrive where he ends up, and then if let's say if he goes to Dortmund ends up selling him to Barcelona or whatever, well then they would cash in, right, a future sale fee. But he does have to do well in the team where he's playing. I mean, if we want to get some cash flow from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like basically what Santos did with Gerardo Arteaga. Obviously, they're like, oh, if Jenk sells Arteaga, which Arteaga is coming back to Monterrey, Santos is cashing in a future sale fee for Monterrey.
Yeah, that's the new business model. I think Santiago Jimenez also has a clause like that in his contract.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, with Cruz Azul, I think it's like 20% or
something like that. Yeah,
15%.
That's what I read.
Yeah, something like that. Arturo Ruiz said Chivas will eventually sign him and destroy his career. No, we will not allow.
No.
If it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to.
Can't expect him to join Betis. He needs to start in the Dutch league. Do believe the Dutch league would probably be better for him to start. And
I could totally see him in like a PSV jersey, maybe Ajax, one of those,
or maybe somewhere like Portugal, maybe.
Portugal would be nice,
like a Porto.
Porto.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be good for us. Also, that he would plays in Champions League. I mean, that would be amazing. If he ends up playing in Champions League.
Imagine.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Arturo
Ruiz also said, I want to see that Fidel Guardado Napoli midfield against Mazatlan. Okay, so we've seen just a little bit.
I want to see
a little bit of Napoli.
Both Fidel and Guardado.
Let's talk about the Napoli part. What are you guys' thoughts about Napoli so far?
I think the sample size is too small for me personally.
Yeah.
I haven't really had a chance to see him. Alan Medina, who's a different. Más o menos se va acoplando, but like sample size too small. Give me another 2 or 3 games to see that
But
play.
it's yet to be determined what they see his role, what the coaching staff sees his role as. He's come on as a sub, and I think he's looked good. I think he's provided a spark. You're right, Carlos. It is a very small sample size, but I like what I've seen from him. I think it's. I think he's provided a spark every time he's come on. Yet to be determined whether they view him as a starter going forward or if he's going to be another super sub. I mean, you have to have good guys coming off the bench if you want to compete as well. I mean, you could have him and Ivan Moreno coming off the bench. I mean, I like that. The subs. I mean, we have to talk. There's a lot of chatter about how Narcamon wouldn't have made the right subs, and he certainly wouldn't have made them at the right time. And Baba did, and that's what won us the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think you can't just pin it on that one thing. You have to pin some of it on Viñas's pure brilliance. I mean, maybe the best striker in the league at the moment. I mean, it's a hotly contested debate, but I mean, he's up there for sure. I mean, you can't just pin it on one thing, but you got to have good quality pieces coming off your bench. So maybe that's how they view Napoli. I don't know. I like the spark that he provides. I want to see more, but I agree with you. I want to see more from him.
Shout out to Diego Molina on the chat. Said Medina has shown garra. Napoli needs to start to judge.
Yeah, and with these doble jornadas that we have coming up, I think we might actually see him get a start. I wouldn't mind it, at least.
Yeah. I mean, Medina had a little bit more of a pretemporada. Like he arrived at the club earlier, so you can see why he's already in the starting picture. Whereas Napoli might need a little bit more time. But that Tridente, I am curious about that. What your Napoli, Fidel, and Guardado. There's so many ways they could do this, and I'm curious to see what they go with moving forward. They have options. All I hope is that Jefecito going forward is not part of the plan.
Man, Jefecito.
It's sad because it's just he's just been like, he was so great, and then he got injured, and then coming back he had a rough start, and then he showed he could still come back, and then it's frustrating. It really is.
His stock is tanking right now.
Yeah.
It really is. We still have another what's called slot for a refuerzo?
We do.
We do.
We have one international slot.
There's rumors, right? There's rumors.
Yeah.
¿Quién has visto?
There are rumors.
I can't remember his name. It's a striker.
Yeah, another.
Somebody in the chat help me. Arturo Ruiz is gonna know. He knows everything. ¿Cómo se llama? There was also the guy that El Presi was like, no, pidió mucho.
Was it there was a possible striker, Thiago Vecino? No.
I think that actually sounds very familiar. I think that's the one that they're looking at right now.
Arturo Ruiz, Jose Cruz de los Santos.
I don't remember. Anyway, there's somebody out there we're still looking for. I just hope he shows up quickly, because I don't know how many more 90-minute games Viñas can play. Especially with these doble jornadas that are
every game, because obviously you see on the news he could be in the possible quirófano and get surgery, and I'm like, no, like he's thriving right now. Like we just need to take care of him as much as possible. And then I think I'm like, was there not enough for him to get surgery during the off season so he can make it back towards the end of the season, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just hoping for the best every single game he plays, because
I mean, the recovery time for whatever kind of surgery that would be, I don't know if there's ever going to be a good moment for it.
No.
The Liga MX off seasons are so short. My guess is between Clausura and the next Apertura is a little longer. So my guess is, he's going to try to tough it out. He's toughing it out pretty well, I must say.
Yeah.
His play on the pitch certainly has not suffered. But my guess is he's going to try to wait till the end of this season and then do this, especially if if we get knocked out relatively early in the Liguilla. Hopefully not. But if our Liguilla run isn't as long as we want to be, my guess is he would do it then.
Yeah, I feel for
makes
him.
sense.
So talking a little bit about the game, as we talked about, obviously making those halftime sub changes. I mean, I saw a lot of people going at Diente saying Diente should not start. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Didn't look good. He did not look good in that first half, and we certainly looked instantly better. I mean, and not just there were a few subs made. Barreiro also came off. I think this was mostly for rotation purposes. We have so many games to play in a short period of time. I mean, I have to think about that. But Diente did not. I mean, I don't know if he's just not bought in, or if he's in a role that doesn't suit him, or I'm not sure what. But the quality we know he has is not shining through in the way it needs to be.
He's not living up to that number 10. That's what I'll say. He's not living up to that number 10. And if he asked for it, which I'm pretty certain that he did, he's not doing enough. I don't know. I mean, it might be his position. I think he's being used as like a winger. But Toluca was on ESPN saying that's not his role. That's not where he plays. He plays better as a false nine behind Viñas, basically. So I don't know, but he's not living up to that number 10. I hope he doesn't start anymore. We didn't look good with him on the field in both games.
We did not. So I saw that statistics in the first half. Obviously, throughout the whole game, we had a lot of possession of the ball. At the end of the day, we had only 5 shots on target, right? So lo que veía muchos on Twitter about saying, like, it's like we had pocas llegadas, pero las llegadas que sí tuvimos acertamos. So it's like, are we going to be seeing kind of more of this type of playing style where we're not creating as much? Because I was very frustrated in the first half. I'm just like, what is happening? Like, that was an awful first half.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. Santos didn't come out to compete. They came out to get that one surprise goal, which they did, and that was it. They were bunkering up. Se cerraron. And, when a team closes up on you like that, they don't really let you play. They don't really let you. There's not very many opportunities to score. So, yeah, not surprised. We'll probably see more of that with some of these teams that aren't really in competition for the title.
Also, Gota, I mean, was he just having an off day? Is it time for him to, get a little bench time?
You said it in the chat, Carlos. I mean, that's 2 straight matches where he's had a rough time. I mean, he had that glaring error on the Córdoba goal in the game against Tigres. And, I mean, he did it again. Worse. Even. Like,
worse.
It just wasn't. It was unnecessary. I mean, was it just a moment of, did he lose his head? Was it frustration? Is that why he did that? Or did he just not read the play right? Because, there was no need for that. Either way, it's concerning because he's been a rock. I mean, he's saved more than a handful of matches for us over the last couple of years. So, like, if we can't count on him for that, it is concerning. And we've talked a lot about Poncho Blanco. I mean, there are teams who have a starting goalkeeper who's not as good as Poncho Blanco. And when the guy's played, he's always responded.
Definitely.
It might be time to give him a chance.
Even in that game, both Acevedo and Cota looked awful. But, yeah, I think, a lot of people criticize Cota. He has been crucial in moments where we're like, que porterazo. But, yeah,
we have 2 great. We have 2 doble jornadas in 2 weeks. Give one of those games to Poncho.
Yeah.
Let him play once. Yeah, I know he's always ready. He's one of those dudes who stays ready.
I mean, will Rubio play tomorrow?
He probably will.
Hopefully.
Yeah, he'll probably score on us. I bet you.
He hasn't been able to score.
He's missed so many this season, and I bet you
Oh,
he's going to score on us.
He's missed some sitters this season. Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
Sauce Boy said, "Time to start Blanco." In my opinion, I'm seeing a lot of
Yeah,
that.
maybe not in the long term, but give him one start in this stretch.
Give him some games.
The thing about Blanco is like I feel like Blanco is one of those Carlos Felipe Rodriguez type of goalkeepers where you have like Nahuel Guzman who's always playing. You never get to see the pitch because it's always Nahuel Guzman. But then Nahuel Guzman gets suspended for 2 or 3 games, and then suddenly Carlos Felipe Rodriguez becomes like the best goalkeeper in the world, right? Like nothing gets past him. I feel like that would be Poncho Blanco. I don't know if you guys remember those few games that he started for us. He looked solid,
really good.
in just those few games.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't remember which coach it was. I think it was Holland, where he was at odds with Cota. Like that was the last time Cota really saw the bench, and there was weird like vibes, like he was playing with the sub-20, or like he was getting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. I think it was. I want to say it was with Holland.
Yeah, I think it was.
But like that was the last.
Most likely.
That was the last time when Cota's spot was even remotely in question or in doubt. And it's like the only time since he's joined the team. And,
I think
he came back stronger from that.
I think before that we had Mellizo, right? Mellizo, but he started under Ambris. I think.
That's such a long time ago now, thinking about it.
But yeah, I think Louis right. It was under Holland. I think there was something going on there, and he ended up playing with La Sub-20.
Yeah, we're like, is he being punished, or what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is he like being sent? Is he being sent to timeout?
Arturo Ruiz said the problem with Diente is that he needs to play behind the striker. They got him on the wing and not playing where he's comfy.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't look comfortable. No matter what it is, and whether it's he's in his own head or where he's playing, he does not look comfortable. I'm with you there.
Yeah, facts.
Sauce Boy said, I guess in regards to Rubio, said, watch him come out and score on us. Stop jinxing it, because Sauce Boy, if you and Carlos jinx it, we're going to come back on next pod. We're going to say, whose fault was it that you guys jinxed that Rubio's going to score on us?
He can score on us as long as we score like 4 or 5 on him.
4 or 5, just give him one.
Yeah, he could. We're leading 5. We're leading 5-0. He can get his consolation goal. It's fine.
Funny. Anything else to wrap up the Leon Santos game?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think
we covered it.
Just
good vibes out of that game, and a lot of cautious optimism, and a lot of good problems to have, I would say, coming out of that game.
Well, if we didn't score the winner at the end, it would have felt like a loss. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, I agree with that.
It would have felt like a loss. So I don't know. We were 2 seconds away from this being a completely different episode.
Sure.
So Sauce Boy said the guy looks like he doesn't want to play for us. I don't know what's up with Diente. Look, we've been saying that for the past couple of weeks, especially last season when he joined. I don't know. I'm hoping that's not true. I mean, we kind of mentioned it.
His personality. He was expendable in Tigres too, which is why they sent him to us. Like I don't think he's extremely talented. Obviously, he has a lot of qualities. He's just not. I don't know.
His personality.
That's what he comes off as.
And there was
he just comes off that way.
There was a pajarito on a different show that dropped something about Diente saying that the staff at La Esmeralda, he doesn't really get along with them. He's kind of I can't say the word, but he's kind of an a-hole to them, right? And there's players, and he was like, Guardado cuando llegó, saludando a todos. He's like taking pictures with everyone. He's like, that's a completely different vibe from what Diente shows. I don't want to give it away. I'll tell you guys off the screen.
Fair enough, but I could see that. He's lazy in practices.
Well, to put it in a little bit of context, I did have a chance to chat with Rodrigo Fernandez today here at the. For those who don't know, I'm obviously not in my usual spot. I'm in Mazatlan right now, a few steps away from the Hotel de Concentración. And I want to get into a little bit later when we talk about the Mazatlan match. Just talk about the recibimiento here in the Hotel de Concentración, because it was something special. It was something I hadn't seen ever, and I want to get into it. But there I had a chance to catch up a little bit with Rodrigo Fernandez, who I'm not going to say he's my friend, but he does know who I am, and occasionally we get a chance to catch up. And he and shout out to Paco Vela, who's also here in Mazatlan, good friend, colleague, friend of the show. He and I were chatting with Rodrigo Fernandez as Andres Guardado and obviously Mazatlan's own Rodolfo Cota were signing autographs and making themselves available to any kid who requested it of them. And Rodrigo was talking about how that's how Cota and Andres are. And Diente, he mentioned specifically that Diente is not like that. He's like, when they brought him in, he's like, you know what? I really don't like to do interviews. When we get off the bus, I just want to go straight into the hotel. I don't want to talk to anybody. He said that. And he's like, if you're going to sign me, like, this is the kind of player you're getting. I just don't like to do that kind of stuff. And I think he's just that kind of dude, I get it. I'm fortunately, when I was a young whippersnapper, I was a lot more antisocial than I am now. I get being an antisocial person. And I try not to hold that against somebody. And, sometimes it gets misconstrued as being like not a very nice person or not a good person, because you just don't know, you're not capable, or you don't really want to be that personable with people. And it makes them think that you're not, especially, I don't want to generalize, but especially in Latin American culture, which is very, in general, very warm and friendly and inviting. And so when someone's not like that, it is seen as mala onda. So, I just get the impression that he's kind of an antisocial dude, doesn't really like any sort of spotlight, doesn't want to be like, he just doesn't want to be that way with people. And I try not to hold it against him, but just a little inside information from here on the ground in Mazatlan with the team a few doors down.
I think it's, cada quien to each their own, how they are and whatnot. I think in the only aspect I'm going to talk about is the aspect of the fans and the aspect of the fans that like look up to players, right? And the football player knowing that they get paid so much money, they get to, live their life doing something they love. And it's like, for not stopping to give an autograph or something, se ve mal. You know what I mean? So there's obviously that connotation with it. Because it's like, like these guys, like, the fans like them, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like, como que te cuesta. Yeah. Especially like little kids, you know what I mean? Because obviously they always say, like, with the kids, like, no, don't meet your idols and whatnot. So, I mean, I don't know how many little kids are the Inter fans or whatever, but just in the aspect of where I'm looking at it as, because I've been that fangirl going to the Hotel de Concentración de los, Mexicanos, wanting to, anything. And it's kind of like sometimes the way they walk by is just like, X, like they're just like, they don't see you, anything.
You even have Marcos Caicedo's autograph, don't you?
Yeah, well, that was different because they were all really nice. They all gave me all the autographs and whatnot. But I've been the,
shout out to Marcos Caicedo. His not a name we're going to hear very often on this podcast.
No, they were really nice. But no, it's just on the aspect of like, can you imagine everybody looking at them and be like, "Ay, ¿qué le cuesta stop by and sign my ball, sign my thing?" You know what I mean? So it's kind of difficult also, because if the person is like that, it's like, you kind of have to give in a little sometimes.
In my experience, I think players are very different when they're on the job, whether that be in training or especially, on a trip for a match. When they're there for specific purpose of playing and winning a match, I mean, they're very locked into that. They don't want a ton of distractions. I mean, I've had a chance to meet a few players like that when they're not on the clock, and I feel like they're very different. But most of the time when you see these guys is when they're on the clock. They're going to be at the hotel this time. They're going to be at at the stadium this time, or they're going to be at La Esmeralda or whatever, and they're always on the clock. They're in work mode in that situation. And I mean, if you catch them, on some of their downtime, if you're fortunate enough to meet some of these players when they're on in another context, I mean, I think you see that how human they really are. But like these types of situations, I try not to judge. Like if they don't want to say hi, they don't want to talk, they don't want to chat, they don't want to do anything, it's fine. They're on the job. I think we should try not to judge too harshly.
On a comment, Arturo said, "Who doesn't know who you are, Louis?"
No, that's what I'm saying. They know who I am.
I know,
maybe, but they don't. But they don't have to talk to me. I'm not offended if they don't want to talk to me just because they know who I am, because they're not here to talk to me. They're here to win a game, and I'm here to see them win a game. That's
no, I think he was
priority
talking
as much as
about when you were
theirs.
talking about Rodrigo and all that stuff at the beginning. Yeah. Okay.
Shout out to Rodrigo. People, we can question some of the decisions he's made over the years all we want, but he's an objectively nice dude, and he gives you the time of day. If he feels like you respect what his club is trying to do, then he'll respect you. So shout out to Rodrigo. He'll never hear this, but shout out to Rodrigo. I consider you a friend of the show.
We would just record your snippet and just send it to him.
I think somebody over there secretly listens to us. Somebody has to keep an eye on us. Like, if the team stock is going up and they're trying to expand and internationalize, like, you already have something going on.
Be like, what did they say this week? So quickly before we go into the Mazatlan game, just run down of the other games that happened on the weekend. Friday, Toluca and Puebla drawing 1-1, which will be interesting when we face Toluca. Chivas and Xolos also tying 1-1. Cruz Azul beating Mazatlan 2-1. Mazatlan had a red card. Obviously, our game 3-2 with Santos with the red card. Monterrey 3-1 to San Luis, which I was hoping San Luis would give them more of a fight because I've been actually liking how they play.
Big time brace for U.S. men's national team standout Brandon Vasquez in that game.
He had a really good goal. I think he'll do very, very well. Necaxa America, guys, did you watch that? Because that was controversial in many ways.
I did see that. I did see that game. Yeah.
Shout out to Necaxa for actually holding up, drawing 0-0.
For that, after all that, for 10 and 0-0, I would have wanted my money back.
But hey, Necaxa's not doing that bad. Drawing to America 0-0. I saw it. I was like, oh, lo van a golear, and that didn't end up happening. So that was interesting. Carlos mentioned the Pumas Pachuca game. Pumas winning 3-1. Atlas winning 2-1. The red card. There was a lot of red cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red cards total jornada.
That Atlas game was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it's just a lot of back and forth. A lot of missed opportunities. Red cards, like you said. I thought it was a good game.
And then Querétaro drawing 1-1 with Tigres. So
that one was pretty cool too. I watched that one. Did you guys watch it?
I didn't watch it. It was weird watching a Querétaro Tigres at like 9 p.m. game on a Sunday. Well, for me, it was 9 p.m. on a Sunday. It was weird.
Querétaro getting some big time draws out of their against Monterrey and Tigres, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't actually score against. They didn't actually score against Tigres though. It was an autogol by Tigres.
Still, I mean, they're getting a result against those teams. They're going to be pesky this season. They're going to be a tough out. At least that's the way it's looking right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's games: Cruz Azul, Xolos and Mazatlan León will play at the same time after Santos Puebla. And Chivas Toluca at the same time as well. Wednesday, there's only 2 games. Pachuca Atlas and Pumas Necaxa. The other games were played last week, midweek, to kind of help out balance the schedule. So, doble jornada. And then, After that, we have the Friday games, Saturday games, and 2 Sunday games. So, with doble jornada, Louis, you're talking about, and I did see the pictures of the recibimiento in Mazatlan that you wanted to get into.
Yeah.
With the club.
Yeah. So look, I've been to a lot of recibimientos. I mean, part of the fun of traveling to the matches is knowing which hotels the teams are in, trying to be there either when they arrive or when they're about to head out to the stadium. I expect there to be another crowd for that tomorrow. But this was different. Apparently, I did not know this, but Club Leon has a filial, like an academy here in Mazatlan, a pretty large one by the judge of it. There were, I don't know, there were at least something like 40, 50 kids, and they were all there in their full Club Leon filial get up. They were dressed from head to toe in their jerseys, their shorts, their socks, them and their parents and their coaches were all there. It was probably at least 100 people just from that filial, and then a few stragglers from other places, as well as Banda Sinaloense, of course, playing Caminos de Guanajuato. I don't know where that banda came from, but I guess there's a chapter of the Porra, de los Locos de Arriba, here in Mazatlan. I didn't really realize that either. But between all of that hubbub and all of those people, it was a pretty crazy recibimiento here in the Hotel de Concentración. I've never seen it quite that active and excited. And obviously the fact that this is Guardado's first away day with the club, he made himself very, very available. He didn't turn a single kid away. Neither did Rodolfo Cota, who's from here, obviously. Both of them, they stayed out long after their compañeros had gone inside. They stayed out longer to sign autographs, take pictures, sign jerseys, what have you. They stayed out there a long time, and they didn't want to disappoint anybody. And I really, really respect that. And it made for some amazing content. I got some really, really good videos of these dudes just receiving their fans, and they made for some great Instagram stories. So I thank them for that. Yeah, it was something I've been to a lot of these sorts of things, and I'd never seen it quite like this. And then it seems like the club posted after I had left and made my way back here to where I'm staying, that the team came back out, most of the team anyway, and took like a big group picture with the kids from the filial and the coaches. So a nice gesture from the players who made themselves available. Just a really cool thing that the club has that here in Mazatlan, of all places. They have seems like a pretty prominent filial. I don't know if they have that in other places. Maybe that's something new they're getting into. That can only mean good things for the future of the club, hopefully. I mean, I don't know if any of these kids will ever put on a jersey for the big club, but you never know. Yeah, so it's just a really, really cool thing. It's a really positive energy, positive vibe, and I wasn't even planning on being there. I was waiting to be able to check into my hotel room here. My room was not ready, so I just went for a walk here in the Zona Dorada. For people who know Mazatlan, the most touristy area of the city, probably, there in the centro. But I was walking around looking for something to eat. I was like, I'm going to kill some time. And then I was sending some messages with Paco Vela. Shouted him out a little while ago, friend of the show. And yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm here at the Holiday Inn and the team's going to get here in a little while. So I'm like, okay, I'll stop by and see what's up. And it turned out to be, just a really, really nice vibe and a positive experience. So, hopefully that positive vibe and positive energy carries over to the pitch tomorrow. We can get a good result. But yeah.
Did you get a pic with Guardado?
Good times. I did not get a picture with Guardado. I did not want to be like, Homer Simpson pushing his way to the ice cream man. I did not want to. I did not want to push kids out of the way to get with Guardado. I imagine there will be other opportunities to do that later on if I really, really want to. It was not, it was not urgent. At this point, I don't really need to be doing that anyway. So, no, I did not do that. But it was really, really cool thing to see him, receive his fans and make time for them. Yeah. Nope. Did not trample any kids. Makes me feel. I don't know if you guys know who Zach Hampel is. Does that name ring a bell to you? He's like the world's best guy at catching foul balls and home runs at Major League Baseball games, and he's made an art out of it. And he's got a YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of followers just for doing that. And he's like in his 40s now. And like, he still makes an effort to get the home run before anyone else does. And like, people criticize him for like pushing kids out of the way or trampling them just to get a baseball before they can. And it's not really true. He doesn't really do that, but he has that reputation. I'd rather not have that reputation.
You just like imagine like all the little kids and then Louis, because Louis is so tall, just hovering over.
Yeah. No, me, get out of the way. Me first. No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Shows good character. Okay, so looking into the Mazatlan game, I guess after the chaotic home win, how are we feeling being away? Are we feeling a bit more confident that we're going to get away with the 3 points?
I mean,
I like our chances.
It should always be considered. I think any team that comes to play in Mazatlan should be favored. There was a time when Mazatlan was first starting out where they had a pretty decent home field advantage. They would win a lot of games here, but that time is long since passed. I mean, I think we should be considered heavy favorites in this game. Doesn't mean it's going to be a walk in the park. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but I think we should be heavy favorites. Also, I don't like, here I am sitting. It's an hour earlier here than in central Mexico, so it's just about 8 p.m. here. And it is cool outside. I don't expect the heat to play a role. Even at 6 when the game starts tomorrow, it was already pretty nice and fresco out. I mean, the conditions should be pretty close to ideal to play, and I don't think that should be an issue. Mazatlan, again, doesn't really have the home field advantage that they first did, like back in 2020 when they first started playing. And, I mean, there's obviously a talent disparity, and a monumental talent disparity between the two squads. On paper, this should be a win. No matter if it's home or away, this should be a win.
It should be a win. Carlos?
Yeah. I mean, it should be a win. I think we can, using our momentum from this last win, I think going into Mazatlan, we should be all right. I don't know. I just don't know about the starters, the starting lineup. Like who's going to start? Because obviously the first 45 minutes of the last match didn't work out. And if we're going to go out with those same guys, then I'm kind of worried. Like, are we going to have the same result? So I don't know. Maybe I hope to see some kind of shuffling in the starting 11. I hope Guardado starts.
Yeah, I'll say it right now. I'm pretty sure Guardado's going to start. So there's one change right there.
Yeah, I hope he starts.
Are we gonna throw Medina on the wing?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Which one? Because there's going to be 2 on the pitch tomorrow.
Yeah. There are going to be 2 Alan Medinas. Mazatlan has an Alan Medina.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying because I think after some of the changes, Mena ended up moving on the other side on the right. No. Y no se vio tan bien. So he moved on the left. So keeping Mena on the right.
Yeah, keeping Mena on the right.
Okay, so are we saying Barreiro starts again, or that's where you're doubtful that?
I'm doubtful. I think we're going to keep Tecillo. And
Osby starts?
Híjole.
Because now, I mean, the lineup was, I saw Tecillo. I'm like, this is what we've been asking for. But
yeah.
I mean, Ozzy in the past couple games, even last season, hasn't been doing that bad.
I think my gut feeling says we're gonna do the same lineup, but with Guardado in there instead of Jefecito. That's my gut feeling. I think Diente starts. I think Barreiro starts. I think we're gonna have the same lineup. You think Diente
starts?
I think he's gonna start.
Yeah, I mean, I think he came off I think his coming off at halftime against Santos was planned, as they knew that we had the doble jornada coming up. You know, regardless of how he played, whether he deserved to continue or not, which I would say he didn't. But I think regardless, you know, it was planned. Like that's why those guys took a little longer. You mentioned, Carlos, that who did it? Was it Israel Romo, another friend of the show, who said that it was weird that those guys hadn't come back out to the bench.
And when they did come out, they were showered up.
Right. Which is why I'm thinking, like, he told them from the beginning, you guys are only going to play this half because we got another match on Tuesday. So they're like, okay, well, they had that in mind. They're like, then we're just gonna, as soon as we get in the locker room, we're gonna shower and change.
Right.
And that's why they took longer coming back out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Diente won't play.
Okay.
Why don't we just throw Medina on that end? Alan Medina.
Or maybe Diente comes in as a sub.
Yeah, like do Viñas, Mena, and Alan Medina have Jefecito?
Why not
I mean,
let
sorry.
Why not let Diente come in as a sub for Viñas? That could work.
Depends on how the game's going.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, like if we have a nice little advantage. You know, if we have like a nice, comfortable 2-0 lead.
Also, Arturo Ruiz Plátano didn't play.
Like
yeah. Plátano didn't play this past game.
There's another one.
Man, we have actual depth now.
Maybe just start Plátano. Okay, I'd start. Well, now I'm like, I start Plátano, Mena, Alan Medina, Guardado, Fidel Ambriz, Napoli, Avión. I mean, I like Barreiro. I just feel like he had an off game. Let him start again.
Barre? Yeah.
Barre, Adonis, and
Tecillo. Or Osvi.
I'd actually throw Osvi in for this game. Okay. Yeah. But then it kind of feels wrong having Tecillo on the bench. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't know.
Osvi didn't look too bad. Maybe this is his wake-up call. Like, hey, if you don't like start getting your act together, we'll always put Tecillo in there for you. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess there's a bit of doubts, but I would love to see Guardado start at least.
Yeah.
Would be a good game for him to start.
That's the one change I want to see tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe if we use a doble jornada, maybe instead of Avión, we can just throw Ivan to start, because we do have to balance it off for the next game. I just see the Toluca game being a tougher game than tomorrow's game.
Yeah, there might be a lot of subs like at halftime.
Yeah.
When do we play Toluca? Is it Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. And it's over there.
I think that's an early game también, like
you
this
have to
one,
travel
this past
there,
one.
And I don't think they're coming back to the city, right? They're not coming back to León. They're going straight to Toluca?
No, I think they will probably go back to León because they have a chartered flight anyway. Yeah.
They'll charter back and then because it's Saturday at 5 Central.
I am not going back to Guanajuato. I'm from here. I flew in from Mexico City today. I'm flying back to Mexico City on Wednesday. I'll stay there until it's time to go to Toluca. Because I don't have anything to get back to Guanajuato for, but I'm sure during the season they see so little of their families anyway. They probably want to get those extra days.
Gustavo Aranda on the chat said, not sure if he touched base on this, but Guardado is going to be a great role model for Fidel Ambriz this season.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. We did touch on that. I said you have the guy in the downturn and the guy in the upswing, and I think they could really benefit from each other, especially Fidel from Guardado.
Arturo Ruiz said Sebas Santos too. He's a winger. Would be nice for him to pick up minutes. I think it'd be good for this game.
I think he's next on the list. Like, I think his number's next. Previously, I thought it was Saul Zamora, which we got rid of. He went and he won the Campeonato con Chivas.
Tapatio, yeah.
And hopefully we got some good money for him. But right now, it looks like Sebastián Santos is the next one up. His number's up next. In a position that we're shorthanded in, that left wing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and go to prediction time so we can wrap it up. Anybody in the comments that wants to share your prediction, drop it in the comments and we'll get prediction time started.
Prediction time!
I love the echoing of the prediction time in my headphones. Louis, you need to give us a new one, a new video.
I know. I haven't had time to come up with something that's better than that one. So it'll happen. It'll happen.
Okay, Louis, let's start off with you as your present. What is
Yeah.
your prediction for tomorrow?
Man, this is a tough one to predict, but I do think the vibes are going to carry over, and I do think the talent disparity will shine through. I mean, Mazatlan's played 3 matches. They have 0 points. They don't look to be, headed in any better direction this season than they have the last however many. I guess they did have that little surprising run in Leagues Cup where they looked halfway decent. They got farther than we did. Or was that Querétaro? I don't know. It was one of those bad teams. Anyway, yeah, I think all things considered, this should be a win, and it has the makings of being a pretty comfortable one. I could see us getting out to an early lead like we have so often playing here, and then just kind of running away with it. I'm not going to go nuts, but I think this could be a 3-1. I think, and I think we'll get out to it. I think we'll get out to a 2-0. Brian Rubio will come back and score a banger and to cut the lead in half. And then I don't know, we'll get one. Maybe Alan Medina opens his account in the second half and puts us ahead 3-1, and that's how it stays. I'm gonna go with a 3-1.
Okay, Louis says 3-1. Our Javi that couldn't make it sent us his prediction, and he predicted 4-1 Leon, of course. So Javi 4-1, Louis 3-1. Soft Boy in the comments says he's going for a 3-1 Leon with Viñas with the brace again. Carlos, your prediction?
Is he gonna be the goleador de la temporada? I mean, if he scores another brace, he'd be well on his way.
Yeah.
True.
I'll keep the game a little closer. I just think Mazatlan is one of those teams que se nos va a cerrar. I mean, you can't compare these two sides. The disparity in the two teams on paper. Obviously, we've got the upper hand with the better talent. I'll go with a 2-1. I'll say Viñas and I don't know. Let's give Napoli one. Napoli.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I'll say he
2-1.
I'll say he subs in for Fidel at some point, right? Because you want Fidel to be ready for Toluca.
Yeah.
And he scores a nice goal, decent goal. Yeah.
Carlos says 2-1. Gustavo Aranda in the chat said 3-1 Diente times 2 and 1 for Napoli as well. Arturo Ruiz said 1-0 only. I'm not getting my hopes up again against the team in bad form. We tend to choke against these teams. Also, he's giving 1-0 to Leon, of course.
Hey, I'll take a 1-0.
I'll take a 1-0. That's a win.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Diego on the chat said 0-2 Leon and says Viñas and Mena. So he's predicting a clean sheet. I'm gonna go with the 1-0, just because I think the chaos at the end of the Santos game was great. Obviously, if we wouldn't have, like you guys had mentioned, if we wouldn't have one at the end, the 2-2 would have felt like a loss. So it'll be interesting kind of see Baba's team away. So I'll go with the 1-0. And if the Toluca game, I'm expecting a different scoreboard, but 1-0 that we win. Obviously, I think I mentioned it so many times. We always struggle with these doble jornadas. So I'm hoping, we break that cycle because I'm tired of it, and we see some good football continuing to form. But I think that's everybody.
Win tomorrow puts us like mid-table. I know it's still early in the season. I don't like to look at the table early in the season, but we do have that one game pending. So the more points we can rack up with that one pending match, the better.
Yeah, because
so
we'll be like
tomorrow. We'll be like mid-table. We'll be like 6, 7, maybe 5.
Because after we play tomorrow, we play Saturday, and then we play Wednesday again, which is the partido que nos falta.
Yeah. Wednesday, and then Saturday, and then that same Saturday against America.
Well, I
It'd
might be.
It'd be nice to stock up on some points here
Yeah.
before that point. You might be what?
I might be in Leon at some point in February, so I might catch a game. I'm just not sure yet, but I'm hoping either
Let me know.
the Cruz Azul or the San Luis game at home in Leon. We'll see.
Nice.
Let me know. I got an extra seat.
Thanks. It's just I think I'd go with my mom would come and my dad and
Well,
probably my aunt and whatnot.
Then I can get other seats in the same area. They might even do like a 2-for-1 thing. You never know.
True.
Yeah.
Arturo Ruiz said Mazatlan changed the stadium name to El Encanto. Yeah, I don't like that. I like the Kraken.
Wait, what was it before? Oh,
It was
Mazatlan.
but it was never officially called El Kraken. This is the
Really?
first, yeah, and it's called El Encanto for sponsorship reasons. Like Encanto is some kind of brand name.
So why would they always refer to it to El Kraken if it was never official?
It was colloquially the fans called it that.
Oh,
But that was never the official name. It was just called Estadio. It was called Estadio de Mazatlan.
Yeah, like we call Estadio León, we call it Nou
El
Camp.
Glorioso, despite the fact that it's not officially called that. And it's not El Glorioso or Nou Camp. It's not. It was never officially called that.
It's neither of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I like Kraken too, especially as a hardcore fan of the Seattle Kraken NHL hockey team. Yeah.
Just suits that. It just suits you in that way, Louis.
And El Encanto's dumb.
You know what I mean?
Encanto.
Yeah.
Bienvenidos a El Encanto. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It sounds like
Estadio El Encanto.
estadio, you know?
Estadio El Encanto.
Arturo Ruiz said El Morelia Morado. See, that makes more sense. It just rolls off your tongue.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian, our contact out in Monarcas land. If you're listening, R.I.P.
Brian, I remember Brian.
R.I.P.
We had him on.
Monarcas.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to our we haven't seen our fan from he used to go for San Luis and he would hop on to listen to us.
Chango Loco.
Chango Loco,
Loco.
yeah.
Dang,
I wonder what happened to
that guy?
him.
Oh,
He's a good loyal listener for sure.
yeah.
Hopefully he makes his way back.
I think he was in school, wasn't he? I think he said he was in school. Couldn't
I
listen.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we'll see. Okay, well, we will be taking off. So shout out to everybody in the chat that joined us, to Sauceboy, Javi, Ángel Delgado, Arturo Ruiz, Diego Molina, Gustavo Aranda, everybody that joined us and watched us via X on Twitter and joined us, even if you stopped by for a couple of minutes on YouTube. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you guys are unable to watch Leon tomorrow, you're at work, you're stuck in traffic, whatever reason, don't forget to follow Club Leon EN to keep you updated with the live updates of the game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on this Monday Night Football. Hope you guys enjoyed our content, and we'll see you back next week on another episode of the Lions Den Podcast.